he worked with me for a while on Pumpkin Smasher, and he taught me how to kind of bring the character to life. He said, take some of your characteristics. You like attention, you're socially awkward, which, by the way, I just learned in that moment. I never knew I was socially awkward.
Oh, no.
No, this turned out to a long drawn out conversation. He's trying to teach me how to be a Q line actor, and I was held up on the fact, I'm like, whoa, what do you mean socially awkward? We start calling up my friends, and they're like, is Max socially awkward? And everybody's like, yeah, he is. I didn't know that about myself. I'm trying to be a lot more self-aware. That part.
Hey, Greg, I have something to tell you.
Aaron, I don't want to hear it. Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go. Hi, I'm Greg.
Hi, I'm Karen.
And welcome to episode number 2 of the Scary Spirits Podcast presents Wicked Ramblings, an entertainment podcast that strives to answer the twisted questions currently burning a bright hole in your dark soul.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm excited. How are you, Greg?
I'm excited as well.
Ooh, we matched. We never match.
All right, Karen, what topic are we covering today?
Today, we are looking at the ins and outs and the ups and downs and the tricks of the trade of someone whose sole job is to scare the bejesus out of you. And from what I hear, he's excellent at his job. Welcome to Haunt Acting 101. Who's our distinguished guest today, Greg?
Well, Karen, our guest has been a haunt actor for 8 years at the Dent Schoolhouse, located in beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio.
Woot woot.
Which is consistently selected as one of the best haunts in the country. For the last 5 years, he has been a queue line actor. In 2012, he started a home haunt called Fright on Fountain. He has been a contributor to the Haunted Attractions Network, and he is the current president of the Ohio Haunters Association. Karen, please help me welcome Maximus Bryant to the podcast.
Hey.
Hello, Max.
Hey.
Hi, Max.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're excited. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun one.
I think so. I'm excited.
My first question, Max, is what first sparked your interest in haunt acting? Where did this all stem from? Were you dropped on your head or something as a child?
What trauma brought this on?
I mean, I like to say that it literally happened the day I was born, because I am born on Halloween.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I was born approximately 10:30 p.m. on Halloween. So I'm thankful that it was then instead of November 1st, because if mom held out an hour and a half later, I probably wouldn't have been a haunt actor. Probably.
How does she think that turned out?
She is not happy. She does not enjoy it. She doesn't like all the masks I have. She doesn't like the costumes I get. She doesn't like that I like decorating as much as I do for Halloween. She is not a fan. We are a Lutheran family, so October 31st is supposed to be Reformation Day. It is not supposed to be Halloween, but
that's going to cause a little bit of an issue.
Yeah,
I think just a little
bit. I mean, my birthday parties were all costume parties. It was actually quite frequent growing up that I spent my birthday going trick-or-treating. That's what I did. So I'm a happy time of my life is heavily associated with Halloween. And so why haunt acting though? I guess going later on, I don't know. I don't feel like acting was the goal. I feel like just being involved in Halloween and scaring people was the goal. You got to think that when I decided to audition for the Dent Schoolhouse in Cincinnati, I didn't view myself as becoming an actor. I just viewed myself as a guy that was just going to jump out and say boo. Yeah, that's literally
which is not what you should do, correct, Max?
no, you should not say boo. I mean, like, I feel like if you jump out and say boo, people are going to be like, seriously, boo. But that's what I thought the job was. And I came to learn that it's actually way more involved than that.
So that was your first audition was with the Dent Schoolhouse to be an actor?
Yes.
Wow, that's big time, right?
Well, I mean, yes, it is slightly a consequence of the randomness of where I decided to live. So in my hometown, Springfield, I did do a yard haunt 3 years before I auditioned at the Dent Schoolhouse. So the home haunt was just it was a relatively small thing. It was people walked in the backyard, they walked around it, and they came out. And I had some friends, they just threw on some masks, they jumped out. Some would just do the silent, like stab at them with a fake knife type thing. I had nothing to suggest to my, I guess, actors. They were just there for the night. They did whatever they did for 2 hours, and that was it. So when I moved to Cincinnati, I didn't have a yard anymore. So I decided that I should work for a legit haunted house. And when you look at all the websites in the Cincinnati area, whether it be the USS Nightmare, Dungeons of Delhi, Mount Healthy Haunted Hall, the Dent Schoolhouse, Kings Island Haunt, the Dent Schoolhouse had the website that I loved the most, because you immediately start learning about the story of the Dent Schoolhouse, and you kind of fell in love with that legend and lore. And I decided that was the one I wanted to be a part of. So I auditioned. I was very, very nervous about it, but I was very happy to have been offered the position and been there ever since.
Did you go with a group of friends or did you go by yourself to audition?
I didn't have friends yet.
Oh, you had just moved to Cincinnati. Well, Springfield's not that far.
Yeah, no, I didn't have friends. I had coworkers.
Hey, let's go audition at the Dent Schoolhouse. I don't know if that's a good way to start your new position.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I worked for the courts, and so the idea, now it was somebody that I worked with that did tell me about the Dent Schoolhouse. So I do have them to thank, but these are not the people that you would get to go audition with you, even though I would suggest it as a good stress reliever. More people should do it.
Team building.
Yeah, right. So I had no friends. Basically I contacted them. There was an email that you could email, and they set up a time. They set it up to where 3 people would come every half-hour increment, and you kind of they talked with you. They talked about the expectations. They gave you like 3 different scenarios that I had to act out. One was I would be like a guy that was slaughtering pigs. I had to act out what that would be like. They told me I was a chef, act out what that would be like. And then I was a demented teacher, and I had to act out that. And it was kind of on the spot. I was a bit lucky because there's a lot of content on YouTube about the Dent Schoolhouse, and actually several walkthroughs. So I knew a lot of the scenes that already.
Yeah, I was going to say those sound like characters inside the Dent, right? So they were looking to fill specific characters. Sounds like. Yeah,
the scenes already exist, and they were looking to see, where they would put me. And that first year, they put me as a guy with a chainsaw.
We should say, Max, you're kind of a big guy, right?
Right. Well, that was, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what they looked at. They saw me, I stand about 6 foot. I'm 300 pounds. They were like, yeah, this guy with a chainsaw, that'll do fine. And that's where I started as a chainsaw maniac.
Okay, so let's go way back, Max.
Okay.
And talk about your very first experience ever in a haunted house as a guest or anything. When did that occur?
So it was a birthday party. When I had friends.
Excellent. It was your birthday party.
It was my birthday.
Okay.
Yes. We did the normal thing, friends came over. They when
How old were you?
I was about 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was 8. I don't remember any haunted house experience before that. So 8, they come over for the birthday. We do the cake, the presents, all that kind of stuff. And then we get in the cars and we go out to a haunted trail. This trail does not exist anymore. And I don't even know what it was called. We had a leader. We walked through. He was kind of telling the legends of the area, and then all of a sudden lights would come on in an area. It was a wooded trail, mind you. And so a light would come on, and there was this person in a costume and a mask, and there was some kind of a witch of the woods type thing that was capturing children. And so there's the witch all of a sudden. And there was a great one where we found a person and they joined the group, and she's just walking behind us, and then all of a sudden she just screams.
Obvious plant.
Yeah, an obvious, like, to me now, an obvious plant, but at the time as a kid,
he was only 8.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there's a lost person, Mom.
They should come with us.
My mommy was with me. I'll just disclose that. But yeah, she just walked with us, and
well, you were 8.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Mom did not send me through the haunted trail alone. Now that was my first experience that I can remember. You
loved it, or you were just No,
I really liked it. I feel like as soon as you exit a haunted house, you're kind of coming down from this adrenaline rush and you feel good about it. And I feel like the typical emotion that is displayed after leaving a haunted house is, I want to go again. Is kind of the feeling that I've always had going through
like any thrill ride, really, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between going through a thrill ride or a haunted house as far as what we feel like. We know that we're safe in general, so we're actually able to enjoy being scared.
Yes.
And that's kind of what allows us to really enjoy the experience instead, because otherwise, why would people pay money for this?
It's true, but you know what? They scare me. Full disclosure. I have a really hard time in them. And I wonder sometimes if being female, your whole life, you just said you have to feel safe. You're safe and you can be scared, but we're told, don't park next to vans. Don't park under a light. Always be aware of your surroundings. Always pay attention to everything. And when you get in there, the things that scare me the most are masks, when I can't see someone's face because I can't read kind of what I think they're going to do. Because that's, since we're very young, that's what they tell us, pay attention. Or if somebody's walking right behind me, that really gets me too. Like, they don't even have to say anything. That's creepier than someone jumping out at me. I mean, I'll still scream if that happens. But
so Max, the last time the Midwest Haunters Convention was in Columbus, Karen went with us, and we went through the Haunted Hoochie. So that's where Karen's coming from.
Yay, Karen.
Yeah, well, when they sledgehammered the pregnant nun and the baby shot out, that was a little much.
Yeah.
And we didn't get the full thing. We didn't. Well, wasn't the one before that when I walked through with Greg, where he went, I know that guy. I know that guy. I know that guy. So it was a little less scary because that's all he said through the whole thing was, I know him. He's a dentist. I know him, or whatever you were saying. I don't remember, but takes a little of the edge off. But yeah, the Hoochie was something.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the most popular ones in Ohio, and they're known for being provocative and extreme. So I can imagine that you had a pretty good show. I mean, in my opinion, it would probably have been a very good show going through.
Yeah, it was overwhelming, but I mean, it was good as a haunted house. I mean, I've never been, again, full disclosure, I've not been to the Dent Schoolhouse. Have you, Greg? I
have not either.
Because it scares me. I mean,
I'm usually busy during Halloween.
That's true.
Well, Greg, you have to visit. Come now.
I mean, that's embarrassing, Greg.
I know. I want to, if nothing else, to get my picture taken with the pumpkin smasher, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm told that guy's a jerk, but Karen, you're going to have to visit as well.
Well, we'll see.
So let's stay way back Back in the good old days, Max. Were you in like theater or interested in that when you were in like school, high school or anything?
I actually wasn't.
Hmm.
I did not do high school theater. I was a very busy guy in high school between football, marching band, wrestling, track, tennis, all the church activities I did. Theaters.
Football and marching band. That's
Yeah,
a busy schedule.
that was freshman year.
What did you do? I saw that. What my kids are in marching band, and Greg was too. But I saw that one time where a kid played football and then stayed on the field in his football uniform and marched.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times, and there is photos of me. I went to go be with the band in the football uniform. That really only happened freshman year. Sophomore through senior, I just continue with marching band because it went all right for me. But all the activities, I was just really, really busy. But theater seemed to just take so much time. And I remember thinking, like, why do they practice and practice and practice for 3 nights? I don't get it. To an extent, I still don't, but I have had experience with it since. But high school was not the time. And I remember those kids used to upset me because it seemed like the week before their performance, they were never in the classroom. And so I was jealous. Why do they get to be out of class?
So it's purely Halloween that drove you in this direction. It's not.
But you have been in theater groups recently, right?
Yes, I've been part of 1.5 productions. This most recent one I had to miss out on, sadly, but I was part of Chicago not too long ago, and then I was going to be one of the leads in a show called Urinetown. And,
yes, I'm familiar.
Yes. So that was a lot of fun.
So to get into Chicago, you used your Dent Schoolhouse experience.
Yeah, I was going to say,
did
haunt acting
CV
spur this interest in like regular theater?
Yeah, because when we get college kids to work at Dent, oftentimes they are involved in theater. And so you get a lot of theater people, and then there's I shouldn't say this. I'm going to anyway. With some of them, there's a certain level of arrogance that came with it. They're like, I was in the theater. And so therefore, haunt acting apparently isn't much to them. But I've seen a lot of them end up quitting after the fact. But at the same, so I thought, okay, I started off as a haunt actor. What will community theater be like? And my friend, Andrea, dragged me into it. I auditioned on a sore throat. I sang, what did I sing? I think I sang something from Hunchback from Notre Dame. I was able to plug in a phone and I played a karaoke version of it and sang along to it. And that was my audition. and it was very interesting to me to see how the show all comes together. And by the time the Chicago was finished, I remember thinking back on it, man, when we first started practicing, I don't know how this is going to come together, but then it did. And it was a very enjoyable experience. And I rolled right into the next one where I did Urinetown. So when I was training at Dent, one thing that they do teach us is improvisation, or being able to adapt easily to, first of all, you have your lines that you sometimes deliver to the audience, but there are times when the audience chirps back at you with something, and then improv steps in and you got to be able to respond back to that. So in theater audition, you sing a song, you learn a dance thing, and then you can read some lines. So the acting bit was only a third of it, but actually rather minor in compared to the others. So I don't feel like I used too much, but I did use some of what I learned at Dent for it. And it worked out pretty well for me. They liked what they saw. I got to be in it, and I got a lead role in the next one. I'm just so sad that show didn't finish because of COVID, but I mean, we were close. We were like 2 weeks away from finishing it. So it would have been really great to see it had been done. And that's actually one of the biggest regrets of my life. Not a regret that it's my fault, but like the fact that it didn't finish.
You feel like you missed something.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You missed out on something. Yeah.
Maybe, so it is a lot of fun, but this is definitely I don't feel like there's a lot of overlap though between theater folk and haunt folk. There can be, but it seems like theater is in such a way to where as soon as you're done with one show, you're rolling into the next, whether it's with the same company or a different company, or you may have two shows going on at the same time, kind of that overlap. Like one is starting to begin a couple weeks while this one's ending, and they're, you know, they all know each other. And but they brought me in, they accepted me, and they were really great, and they thought it was cool that I worked at a haunted house, and they were really cool about it.
Let's talk about haunt actors. So are there different types of haunt actors?
Would it be personalities or?
Well, I mean,
there's different
jobs.
roles.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
there's different positions. So like what I explained my first year, I was a chainsaw guy. So basically I'm a prop actor. Like I had no reason to use my voice. It was pretty much just all physical. I have to get the chainsaw going, and I'm using the chainsaw.
And you're kind of keeping the line moving, right?
Right. Well, yeah, you're supposed to scare forward. That the reason you scare forward is because if you don't, they go backwards. And if they go backwards, they run into the next group that's coming up, and it ruins their experience. So throughput is very important, and you want people to, you know, get through the haunt. So yes, you're scaring them forward. So there are different prop actor positions. Like there's these big heads that people sometimes push, whether it be like a big jack-o'-lantern head or a rat or something like that, and the actors will push it. So there's prop actors, you know, chainsaws, right. The big actor animation type things. Gorgalore sometimes have these big things that they put on people.
Basically behind a curtain pushing a big prop out towards the audience.
Yeah.
So he said, so you have a direction, you want to move people along. Do you get in trouble if for some reason you keep scaring back instead of scaring forward? Like, is someone watching you, or are you paying attention to what you say and how you're doing it? Do they go through and you don't know who they are?
No,
or is there...
I know who's doing it, or I know who's watching. They're watching that pretty heavily because every year they're changing a bunch of the sets. And so with each set, flow changes a little bit. And sometimes you have unintended bottlenecks. Matter of fact, there's one actor, there's a scene. I'm not going to try to ruin the scene too much, but there's a scene where you have to push your way through something. And we stationed an actor there because this scene became a bottleneck. This actor's job is not to scare anyone. This actor's job is to get them in, because
push them.
Yeah, well, not literally push them. We don't put our hands on people except for a couple nights each year, but they're to say, you know, go this way, go, you know, get in there, just to keep things moving. Outside of that, they're watching the cameras all the time.
So there are cameras.
Oh yeah, there's cameras all
for protection on both sides, I'd imagine.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
You know, for theft, for you know, evaluating actor performances to see where the bottlenecking is. And sometimes it changes because a certain actor, when you move them, they went into a scene and they, for some reason, are holding the line up. Like they get in front of the group and they won't let the group go when they should be, you know, when I say hit, I'm talking about popping or scaring.
Right.
When I use the word hit, they should hit on the group and then try to get behind them to, you know, get them out, so that, you know, that you keep the spacing. When you go through like haunt reviews on Google or Facebook, you'll sometimes see people complaining about catching the group in front of them. And that could be for various reasons. The group is naturally walking slower, or sometimes an actor got in the way and didn't scare forward when they should have.
So you can get called to the carpet.
Oh yeah. We have an actor manager who specifically will follow up with us and get on our case if we're not scaring forward, or if we're holding things up, because if one of the owners sees it's happening, he will get on the radio and say, this person is holding up the line, fix it. You know, try to make it happen, because I mean, nobody likes a conga line. A conga line is when groups have all meshed together, and what should have been a group of like 2 to 8 are now 24 and up. Like that shouldn't happen. Nobody enjoys that.
So would you say the like the prop actors, or would you say a drop panel would be the same as a prop actor, or is that a different skill set?
I say that's a different skill set because
first explain what a drop panel actor is.
So So a drop panel actor is an actor who is behind something that appears to be something, but in reality, it is a drop. So, like, for example, let's say you're in a classroom and you think this wall has a chalkboard on it. Well, in reality, it's a drop panel, and the actor will flip a switch, and the panel drops, and they can deliver their scare. We call that a pop scare. A pop scare is, the basic boo. If
Like a jump scare. Is
yeah, a
it
jump
sort of the
scare, a
same?
pop. That's typically what I'll call it, and people will jump out, do the quick scare. That's the one that gets people to hit the floor. That's the one that gets people to pee themselves often. That is the big delivery scare.
You're selling it.
Yeah. Well, that's their job. So what makes them different than like a prop scare is that they oftentimes have some form of dialogue, and it has to be, something relevant to the scene they're in, but it's not a drawn out dialogue per se. It's supposed to be, like, let's say it's a student, and they flip the switch and they stick their head out and they're like, "Can I cheat off your homework?" And then they have to retreat, something like that.
Usually there's a loud bang associated with it just from the panel dropping too, I assume, right?
The panels can all be made of different stuff. We have metal doors, we have wood ones, and they usually, the drop itself will do it, but it's really the actor that brings it to life and delivers something, because it's one like, oh, my attention is now this way because of that happened as a result of the panel dropping, and now the actor gets to deliver their line or their scare, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So is there a hierarchy of actors? Are you a beginner when you start with a prop and then work your way up to more, I don't want to say exciting, but more involved characters? Like, do you start as a drop panel actor or a prop actor and then move up? Or do you just kind of gravitate to what you feel you're best at, if that makes
or
sense?
what the owners or casting director thinks you're best at?
Well, that, yes.
So yes and no. I started off with a prop. I was a bigger guy. They thought, oh, this guy could handle a chainsaw all night. That was
They put you in overalls.
Well, no, actually, no.
Okay, I was just.
No, the slaughterhouse is supposed to be a nod to the pork industry of Cincinnati. That was what it was for. But no, they started me out there, but that's not where I stayed. So the next year I was a chef. And so this is the next kind of actor, is a dialogue driven one, because the chef scene doesn't have any hiding places. So there's nowhere for me to hide. So what do? Well, I'm delivering dialogue that's more drawn out, because I can't do a pop. It's not possible.
But did you request that, or did they just move you?
When I was in my first scene, they were able to watch and see what I could do. And then I wasn't in that scene every single time. There would be Thursdays and Sundays I would get moved every now and then, and I would get moved to a scene where I would deliver a pop scare. And the actor manager walks through at least twice every night. It's usually more. Sometimes they go hide somewhere and they kind of watch and see what we're doing. They're constantly assessing us. So the actor manager was able to see what I could do, and they could tell that I had pretty good dialogue skills. So they said, all right, we're going to put you in the chef scene. And I'm in the chef scene, and it's my job to deliver the dialogue like I had. And you don't always put a brand new actor there, because like I said, because it's a scene that's driven by dialogue, you don't know if a new actor can handle that or not. And you sometimes have to test them out in a different scene to see if they can use their improv skills well enough that would be able to handle it. Some can, some don't. And there have been times when they put someone in that chef scene that doesn't work out. I don't know the last time you walked through a haunt, maybe it was the Hoochie.
It was.
Sometimes you come across an actor that just stares and they think they're creepy. They kind of do like this weird face and they tilt their head as you walk through the whole scene. I personally despise them. I can't stand that. I feel like it's a waste of a scare, and I feel like it doesn't, like, they don't get you into the mood of the scene that they're trying to set. They're not pulling you into their world. They're just kind of like staring. And sometimes you get that, but the thing is that every single night we're being evaluated. So sometimes I could very well have been put in the chef scene and then got moved out because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. So, every time you are given a chance to perform, you have to show what you can do. And that is what gives you the consideration to quote unquote move up to more difficult scenes. I would consider the chef scene one of the more difficult ones because, again, you're reliant on dialogue. And you got to think, to me, if I was a new actor and I was put in the scene and I didn't have anywhere to hide, I would freak out. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? You don't know that offhand necessarily, and you have to build to that. There's several other scenes that have that too. So there's those dialogue scenes, but then there's also the cue line acting, which is, improv skills galore. Because you can't hide, really. You are seen by the crowd the whole night. So your ability to scare or interact is quite a bit different.
You have been a cue line actor now for what was it, the last 5 years?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I wanted to be a cue line actor way before that. I actually auditioned, I think it was like 3 times to be a cue line actor, and I didn't get it each time. And then finally I got my chance. And you always have a chance, because remember what I said, that every night you could get pulled from that scene. Like you can never assume that any position or scene is yours. At any given point they could say, no, we don't like what you're doing, out. Not fired,
Well,
but we're gonna move
you could have an off night too. I mean, you're not always going to be great every night, right? I mean, you are, of course, but other people could have an off night.
Yeah, they could have an off night, but
they would pull you and put someone else in there for if you screw up in your assignment. And do they pull you out, give you a talking, and put you back in, or do they pull you out and put you somewhere else? Do you not get? Do you know what I mean? Do you get to circle back to your?
I think it really has to do with how well they know you. So I've been there 8 years. The actor manager knows what I can do. So like they would know if I was having an off night. So I guess when I say if you're doing something that isn't fitting, so like the character that I've been portraying for the last 5 years is called Pumpkin Smasher. Like the owners had an idea of what Pumpkin Smasher would be like. I gave him a try. They've obviously liked it. They've kept me as him. But if I started taking Pumpkin Smasher in a way that they wouldn't like, they'd say, no, you took this a weird spot. It wasn't just an off night. You've been going in a direction that is not what we envisioned for this. You're out. Or fix it and you're out. If it's a new actor, yeah, they would probably get pulled, and they would obviously have a chance to show that they can do it or that they could learn. But again, it comes down to how well they know you and your ability to take criticism and build upon it. I mean, there's some people who take criticism, sit and pout, and basically shut down. But
yeah, it sounds like it's a lot. You have to put your ego aside a little bit and listen and learn.
Oh yeah,
which is hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, there was tons of people who, when I got to Dent, I remember there were people who would say, no, this is my character. This is my scene. And the reality is that's not the case. This is not your haunted house. These are not.
No, they have to protect their reputation.
Right.
Right.
And they have a story that they are trying to teach. Yeah. It's their story. It's their vision. It's their, I mean, their money invested in the production. It's theirs. So, like, as much as people oftentimes associate me with the Pumpkin Smasher because I've been portraying him for so long, I'm probably the 6th or 7th Pumpkin Smasher that's ever existed. Many have had a go at him before me.
And can you go and say, I don't want to do Pumpkin Smasher anymore. I want to do, I don't know, something else. Yeah. Can you, but stay in the organization? Can you request a transfer?
I could.
But you like what you're doing so much.
I do like what I'm doing. I mean, if I wasn't doing cue line acting, I'd like to be a breaker. A breaker is somebody that goes through the haunt and replaces you in the scene for about 10 to 15 minutes. So you can go get a break, use the restroom, get some water, stuff like that. I'd like to do that, but definitely on a night-to-night basis, I like being a cue line actor. If I were to ever retire, Pumpkin Smasher exists with or without me.
I find
it's that like Kiss the band. They just keep getting
as long as you paint somebody like a demon, I guess.
Yeah, right.
See, I had always assumed that was your character and that was something you did, but it was really it's their character, right?
Right. Yeah, all the characters you see there are Dent's characters, or at the very least dent allows you to be that character. And so when I'm speaking about haunt acting, you got to think I'm really mainly speaking from my experience at Dent. I know a lot of places will allow people to bring in their own characters. And so when I tell people that Pumpkin Smasher is not mine, they sometimes are confused because a lot of other haunts will allow you to be your own character. So, whether it's Charlie the janitor, Zobo the clown, Pumpkin Smasher, those are all Dents. And whoever wears the costume and portrays them has to portray them in the way that Dent wants. A lot of people do think that Pumpkin Smasher is mine, and it's been that way now for many years. And when I've gone on interviews and podcasts, they think, so how did you come up with Pumpkin Smasher? I'm like, I didn't.
Right.
So there is a character creator at the Dent. That's a job for someone at that haunt. There's a character creator,
creative director or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the owners, I think, are the ones that really come up with all that. They're the ones that
would be kind of fun.
Yeah, they design the sets, they design the characters, they design the promos, all that kind of stuff. There is a creative team that makes costumes and all that other kind of stuff. And that's the other thing, the costumes, all of them are Dents as well. We don't bring our own costume. I know there's some places that want you to bring your own costume and stuff like that, because they don't have that inventory or that that catalog of costumes. But for us, all the costumes are signed out, and you must return each costume piece each night. This is just to protect and keep tabs on their costuming items. So all that belongs to them. And I am flattered that a lot of people associate me with the Pumpkin Smasher, but in reality, that's not what it's supposed to be. Pumpkin Smasher is supposed to be something completely different. It's not Maximus as Pumpkin Smasher. It's supposed to just be, hey, there's Pumpkin Smasher. And whether it's me or my friend named Nick or David, if they were to be the Pumpkin Smasher, in a sense, they should be the same guy. They obviously won't, because everybody obviously adds their own flair onto things, but
but as Pumpkin Smasher, do you get any special training to be like, hey, we want you to be Pumpkin Smasher in your queue line, and they give you special training to handle that?
So before I became Pumpkin Smasher, I was being worked with one-on-one. Buddy of mine, Terry, shout out to Terry. He worked with me for a while on Pumpkin Smasher, and he taught me how to kind of bring the character to life. He said, take some of your characteristics. You like attention, you're socially awkward, which, by the way, I just learned in that moment. I never knew I was socially awkward. No, this turned out to a long drawn out conversation. He's trying to teach me how to be a queue line actor, and I was held up on the fact, I'm like, whoa, what do you mean socially awkward? We start calling up my friends, and they're like, is Max socially awkward? And everybody's like, yeah, he is. I didn't know that about myself, but but the point is,
I don't see that at all, Max, just so you know.
Well, I appreciate it.
At least not recently, because I feel like maybe you're trying to break out of that. Since someone told you that, you've tried to go against that.
I'm trying to be a lot more self-aware. That part.
Hey, Greg, I have something to tell you.
Aaron, I don't want to hear it.
But the training basically was take those characteristics, like the liking of attention, stuff like that, and just do it 10 times 10. Become somebody that's obsessed about something. I did that. I worked a night. I got some feedback because they watched me. Some things to improve on, some things I could do differently. And honestly, that's never stopped. I get feedback still today. I mean, it's not like I'm a professional, but I get feedback, and honestly, I like that because I need to keep building upon it. Pumpkin Smasher can't remain the exact same every single year. You kind of have to change and adapt. And I had to work on my improv skills a lot more, because that audience, in an actor scene, a typical scene, guests are in that scene from, I don't know, a few seconds. It's like 5 to 10 seconds maybe that they're in your scene. But in queue line acting, they're waiting out there for, on a busy night, sometimes it's 3 hours. and you got to be able to interact with them. So they throw all kinds of stuff at, not literally, sometimes I've had gravel thrown at me before, but you know, like when I try to interact with them, they'll sometimes throw me a curveball, but I have to be able to react. I can't let them win. There can be never point when I say, ooh, they beat me, and walk away. Pumpkin Smasher doesn't allow it. Pumpkin Smasher has to get the last word in.
Well, and you have to deal with people, I'm sure, who come every single year. So you can't have someone standing there saying, oh, wait, watch it. He's going to do this now. And now he's going to do this. And then because you have to change it, I would guess, enough that they're still entertained without.
Well, that's the concept of haunted houses in general. You have to change the haunt up every year so that people have something to come see. They can't see the exact same thing every year. Otherwise they won't come. So in haunting in general, whether, you know, whatever haunt it is, you need to have something new every year. So but you know, it's funny you said that, Karen, because one thing I did start doing, Pumpkin Smasher didn't do this originally, but because I do it, it's okay. I started stealing people's phones. And when I stole people's phones, I would take videos on it on Snapchat and be like, you know, Pumpkin Smasher here at the Dent Schoolhouse. Where are you, cowards? Where are you? Come and face me. And then I would send it to all their friends on Snapchat. Like, I just go down the line, send it. Fast forward 1 year. That kid will come back, and it happens every single year. They'll be like, you took my phone last year and you made a video. Look. In a way, it's like free advertising, because
absolutely.
I'm just stealing their phone, you know, doing a bit, sending it to all their friends. I'm like, well, looks like we're going to have to do it again. And then we make another year. There was a guy, last year, he showed me 4 years in a row of photos that we took together. People asked to take photos with me all the time, and he showed me 4 years in a row, and I was like, and because at the beginning, is
that what Pumpkin Smasher said? Aw.
I mean, in my heart, in Maximus's heart, he said, aw, because the kid was shorter than me when he first started coming. Now he's
awesome. Really,
he's like a male volleyball player.
That's really cool.
So Karen just said something a minute ago. She said the word entertain. So what is your primary goal as a queue line actor? To scare or entertain?
I feel like those are synonymous. Is that the right word?
It is.
Yeah, I think those are synonymous, because I'm not going to scare everyone. Like I said, everybody can see me at every moment. Like I'm out there, you know, there's thousands of people and they can all see me. So my best bet is to catch the person that isn't looking at me. And I'm carrying around a big hammer, and I can get them to look at me real quick, give them a quick whack in the face. I don't actually hit them. I just, you know, get it real close enough to where it's, you know, I almost got hit. Sometimes you get a scream, sometimes you get them to juke or something, but everybody else is watching.
So you're kind of doing a startle scare sometimes, as a queue line actor. Yeah,
which is not the easiest, because people are watching. You have to watch for those that aren't watching. But everybody else that saw that, they're entertained because I got this person. There's the person that comes on the grounds that's just naturally creeped out, and I can chase them through the queue line, and people love it because they're hitting the ground, they're crawling through the gravel, and we're just chasing them down. There's a lot of fun with that. Sometimes there's a bus out front. Sometimes I'll run around the bus and charge at the people. So those are some scaring things I do, but I also have to interact with people. Sometimes I get a group of teenage boys and they like to try to roast me. And so then I just roast them back, you know, like make fun of their shoes or whatever it is, you know, we just throw it back and forth at each other. And that's had some great results.
You're kind of a stand-up improv comedian in a lot of ways, except you're doing insults instead of, you have to look at someone and be able to insult them, kind of.
Yes. When people are having fun, you know, they're laughing, I can insult someone in a funny way. But if I'm offending someone, that's, you know,
there's a line, but you're talking about shoes.
But their friends would probably laugh.
Their friends might laugh, but you know, you want,
but not like medical conditions or things like that. You're talking about, you know, haircuts or shoes, or did your mama let you come here tonight, or you know, or
they sell like men's shoes where you bought those.
Yeah, so there was a group of I think it was like I don't know, they may have been middle school girls, and they were all by themselves. One of them gave me their phone and I called their mother, and I accused their mother over the phone of being a terrible parent because they know what happens to children at the Dent schoolhouse. The story is all about the kids that were killed by the janitor. And I'm like, don't you know what happened here? You're a god awful parent. And stuff like that. And so those are actually some of my favorite interactions, is where people allow me to call their family members. But there's a whole bag of tools that I draw from, and it oftentimes depends on what the person's willing to do. Can I steal their phone? Will they call someone? Are they pointing to someone? And some haunt actors don't like the points, because that usually means that you are letting someone else control what you do. But the thing is that they're often giving good advice. I'm like, oh, who are they pointing at? Oh, they ain't looking. All right, here we go. And
so, do you listen for names in conversations and things like that?
The name thing is a little hard, because oftentimes the person will hear them telling me what their name is. And to me, I feel like that doesn't really have much of an impact. It's much better if the person's in the bathroom and the person will say, hey, this girl, she's wearing a green sweater. Her name is Alicia. And so I'll go away. And usually in queue line acting, you will interact with the same group multiple times as they're waiting in line. So when they come back, I'll see the girl in green and then just be like, Alicia, so, type thing. And that sometimes will have a great effect. And often, and that's the thing, is that sometimes the audience will feed me good tips, and it's good. It's fun to use. I don't let my ego get in the way of that. So, scaring, interacting, comedian, geez, there's just all kinds of things. That's why queue line acting is
I imagine there's some physical stuff involved too, right?
Well, yeah, I'm running around like when I'm charging at people, I'm running. You're standing on your feet the whole time. I'm walking on gravel the entire night. That really does numbers to the knee. But,
are you alone, or do you have other actors with you that you can?
There's usually 3 queue line actors at one time. There doesn't have to be 3. There could be less. There could be more. But
do you interact together?
Typically, no.
No.
It's viewed as kind of it's like, okay, if I have 2 of my actors in the same spot, then there's this whole group of people.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
Entertainment. So we are encouraged to really spread out. So like Pumpkin Smashers out there, but Charlie the janitor is considered the boss. Nobody talks to Charlie. You leave Charlie alone. You do not bother him. Matter of fact, half the time I have to just, respectfully acknowledge him if for some reason we pass each other.
But you know the actor.
Yeah, I know him. Right. Okay. Yeah. But in that moment, it's not
when you're
it's not Ryan or Alex. It's Charlie the janitor,
right.
And I am Pumpkin Smasher. So sometimes Zobo's out there, sometimes DS6 is out there, sometimes Princess Petunia's out there. There's a whole lineup of characters that the Dent Schoolhouse has that can be outside or inside. Sometimes I'm pulled from the outside to be inside to fill a scene for a few minutes if needed. If we interact, it's very minimal because we're trying to cover as much ground as we can. The queue line acting is one of those positions that is oftentimes viewed as one you work up to, mainly because, like, you think of the drop panel actor. You drop the panel, you pop, you retreat. Maybe your scare hit, maybe it didn't. It doesn't matter.
You could say the same line every time because you're hitting a different group every time, right?
Right, exactly. And I hope you diversify it up a bit because you're getting bored at the end of the night.
Correct.
But at the same time, you don't have to interact with that group anymore.
Right.
You're done with them. But a little tip out there for those of you who are haunt acting: if you're in a drop panel and there's a group of 8, you can hit the first part of the group and then the second part of the group. Do not do this thing where you hit and then do the stare thing. I hate it so much. Reset, hit again. You don't think it's going to work, but it works. Just do it. I do have a few pet peeves when it comes to the haunt acting, but still the point is that you get away from them. You retreat, you're away from them. I'm not. I decide how long I interact with a group or not interact with a group, and I have to know when to get away from them. There have been times where I've caught myself and I'm like, I've been around this group too long, because they start asking questions like, do you like working here?
Yeah.
If they ask me that question, I know I've been around that group for too long. I need to walk away. I'm like, oh, the magic's gone. Got to walk away.
So, Karen, how do you like how this episode is going on Haunt Acting 101?
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, lots of good information. So much information, in fact, that we can't fit it into one episode, I think.
I agree.
So stay tuned next month for Scary Spirits Podcast presents Wicked Ramblings Episode 3, Haunt Acting 101 Part 2, where we finish our conversation with our special guest, Maximus Bryant.
You're going to want to hear all this stuff.
Yes, stay tuned.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.